welcome to another episode of the Always Be Testing podcast. I'm your host, Ty DeGrange, and I'm really excited to talk to Greg Rollett today. How's it going, Greg?
What's happening, man? I've been looking forward to this. Got to meet you back at Affiliate Summit, and yeah, man, just a big fan of what you're doing and happy to be here today.
Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's Friday. We're about to go into the Labor Day weekend, so all is well. Got anything cooking?
Man, we were kind of talking right before we went live. It's like I have three boys, and so they all play baseball, 11, 10, and 5. And so my wife and I are sneaking away to St. Pete for real quick for a concert, but like it's literally drive, go to the concert, drive home, and then baseball practices. So there's time to work and there's time to coach baseball, and that's all we got in the Rollett household these days.
I love it. I love it, man. Maybe kicking off, you've had such an awesome background. I loved your talk at Affiliate Summit. You rolled out some really exciting things that you guys are doing with Grommet. But you've also had just an amazing experience and life background and professional background. So maybe just share with the audience all the cool stuff you've done, man. It's been a wild ride.
Man, I'm gonna do the Cliff Notes version because people think I'm literally crazy, and I've just had this ever since I was young. I've just had this idea of if whatever you want in this world, you can go out and create it, right? And create your own reality. And so when I was 17 years old, senior in high school, I joined this program and they let me out of school every day at noon to start a business. And I started a record label because at the time, this is when No Limit Records and Cash Money Records and Interscope and Bad Boy and P. Diddy and their entrepreneurs weren't cool 25 years ago. Who was cool was all these emerging hip hop stars. And they were creating these record labels. And what's really crazy is they were just entrepreneurs. They were just selling music was their products. And so I started my own record label, obviously signed myself as the first artist because that's what you do. Obviously, it was me and my buddy, and made our first album senior year of high school. Sold a couple thousand copies, at Friday night parties and at the football games and the baseball games and all of that stuff. And then spent the next 10 years kind of on the road as a touring musician, like a rapper in a rock band, very Linkin Park, 311-esque. We were good. We weren't great. Made a living out of it. Had a studio, that I recorded a bunch of people at, and got out of that, got into the business world. And all these business owners were like, hey, all that stuff you did in the music world, like getting big on MySpace and getting millions of followers and all this, can you do that for our business? And so got into media and helping businesses, create media assets and videos and all of these things to help them grow their business. Hosted TV shows. I've hosted TV shows for Entrepreneur, for Amazon. I've done documentaries that have, won Emmy Awards over in the corner there for those of you watching the video. You have to have that stuff in the background or else why do you have it, And then, and just had this incredible rise of just man, no one was ever going to give me a record deal. So I'm going to go out and get one. No one was coming to Orlando, Florida to say Greg, we want you to star on this reality TV show. So I'm I'm just going to go create my own and, use Kickstarter, raise the funds, went all over the country. All of these things that I've ever wanted to do, I've just gone and I'm going to go figure out how to do it. And the same thing is true now as I've gotten into commerce of, I wanted to create my own supplement. That was the first brand I ever created in the e-commerce space. It's because I wanted the product, and I'm I don't know how to make it. I don't know how to find it, so figured it out. Made this incredible product called Rise. It's a coffee creamer, a nootropic-based coffee creamer, and and then exited that business and landed into Grommet world, where I have an opportunity to help thousands and thousands of new early stage brands to get that initial inertia, that initial momentum, that oh my God, I've spent my whole life on this idea. I finally brought it to life, but how the heck do I sell it? We really want to help those guys because I've been that guy and I know how difficult it is. And so, yeah, rapper to TV media guy to product guy to Grommet, and somehow they all connect. But it's been super fun.
It's just a typical career trajectory. No big deal.
Exactly.
It's
very straight line.
It's so cool. It's so amazing. I love the energy you put forth today, the energy you put into the call, the talk you did in New York. It's kind of contagious energy, and it's positive, and I think that bringing that to the business world, people find refreshing, and there's a enthusiasm about it that I think you have to bring to life and work and everything. And so it's cool to see.
Yeah, man, I'm a big believer that energy is contagious, like you just said, right? When you bring it, other people get on board. And so there's so many people, and I mean, you see it when you're walking the halls and you go to someone's booth and you're like, so what do you do? And they're like, well, we have a tracking software that's and I'm like, no, man, dude, we have this tracking software, and it's like you have to set the tone for what it is that you do. And I've just always wanted to
Yeah,
be that guy that like
yeah,
is bringing that infectious energy.
it's so true. It's so true. Um, you kind of describe Grommet as kind of like product hunt for consumer. Can you give people like a bit of a background on it and what it is and what you guys are looking to do?
Yeah, what it is today is really product hunt for consumer, right? If you're a shopper looking to discover something cool that you're not seeing in your Instagram feeds, that you're not seeing on Amazon, and like when you go to Amazon, you're usually typing in something that I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. But how do you find those products that you're not looking for, that just cross your eye and you're like, man, that's super cool, or that solves a problem that I have, or that's the gift that I needed for my boss, my aunt, my cousin, my friend, my husband, my wife, that I can't find anything for. That's where Grommet really comes into play. And it's for these like new and emerging go-to-market brands who are, they're trying to get discovered. How do I find my first, I love Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans, right? How do I find those first 1,000 customers that are going to be champions for my brand? That's really where Grommet comes into play. And, right now, as we're recording this, we're a day away from our 1-year anniversary of launching kind of this version of Grommet. But Grommet's actually been around since
Congrats.
2008. Was started by two incredible female founders out of Boston. And they built this brand, this community, these both from the maker side that we call our brands makers, these people who are out there making things to make the world a little bit better. Then you also have these shoppers. When we acquired Grommet, there was 3.5 million shoppers who had bought something from Grommet. That's a lot of people. And they love supporting the actual person behind the brand. And so, they've done an amazing job of building this brand. And now we're trying to continue that on in this kind of new life that we have.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's been incredible because we get to serve both sides. Like we get to be that kind of middleman where we see these makers and we're helping them. But the emails that we get from shoppers that are just like, man, I just got the perfect gift for my wife that I never would have found or was never going to be on her list. But now it makes me look like the best gift giver of all time. And so it's satisfying on both sides from where we're playing these days.
Heck yeah, that's amazing. And what kind of brands make sense on Grommet? What kind of brands are kind of maybe not the best fit?
Yeah, so we look at it less about brands and more about products. And so, because a brand can have
Yep.
multiple products. And so
Yep.
we want the product to be new and unique. What I mean by that is like, as much as I love supporting the Lakeland Flying Tigers, like I don't want this cup, right? Like, that's not new. It's not unique. It's just a cup with a logo on it. Like we want something that is, bringing something new to the table that a shopper hasn't seen before. That is, maybe it's this cup, but it's a new lid on it that solves a unique problem in the marketplace. So these are all consumer goods that are, solving problems, that are maker led, that are, hey, I had this problem and I searched everywhere for it and I couldn't find an answer. So I'm the one who's going to go and make these products. And, there's so many cool products. These are the products that you see on Shark Tank. These are the products you see on Dragon's Den. These are the products that, they have an incredible story behind them, an incredible maker behind them. And they just need a little bit of that oomph. Now, at the same time, it doesn't mean that there can't be an established brand who's maybe coming out with a new line or a new product
Yep.
or a new extension.
Yep.
And they're trying to find their traction. They're trying to find what message
Yeah.
resonates. How do we introduce this to the market for the first time? Grommet's a great place for them. So we look at it more product versus brand is how does
Yeah.
this product bring something new and different to the marketplace? Yeah.
I love that. And I think the maker-led comment is so powerful. We've seen it firsthand with there's just been this movement of brands trying to really tap into those third party, reviews, gift guides, listicles, influencers, creators, makers. So I think like the fact that you're kind of highlighting that and elevating them is really cool. And it sounds like that's what you're seeing in the data and the performance as well.
Well, it's also like trust, right? So you have Temu, you have TikTok shops, you have like all of these, third-party sellers. You have a lot of Chinese companies coming into the game. And when a consumer takes out their wallet and they're going to put their credit card into an internet website, right? Like, do I trust that the product's going to show up? Do I trust that it's going to do what they said in the ad? Do I trust that when I get it, it's not just going to be in a brown box with no label on it? And I'm like, did I order this? Like, so I think being maker-led, yes, it's in the data and we're seeing it like as far as like metrics, but there's something on the shopper side that's just like, I'm going to buy from this brand because I like Ty. I liked his video. I liked his story. I like how he created this product because it helped his grandma with this problem. And now he's helping other people with it. I want to support that person because I also know that if there's a problem, I'm going to go yell at Ty, right? And be like, hey man, my product, like, and so I think there's a trust factor that,
Yep.
if a big publisher is going to talk about your brand, is the publisher going to get backlash because they promoted that brand, or are they going to get applauded for promoting that brand? And so that's the people we want to be associated with. And I think that consumers really want that today more than ever. And again, there's a time for flash fashion where you just need the $8 tank top because you're going to Cancun this weekend and you need something, you're going to wear it once, right? I get that. But if you're getting something that you're going to use in the kitchen, something that you're going to put in your home, something you're going to put in your bedroom, you want to know that this is a real product that's made by a real person that, that you can really stand behind.
Yeah, the trust element is huge. It's such a major thing. I think there's been just so much evidence to show that the trust in brands is not what it used to be. So to have, friends, family, makers, third parties kind of rave and talk and educate people about certain things. Grommet can be that trusted source for product for consumer and product hunt for consumer. I love that positioning. So that's awesome. Um, obviously, like the pod is very focused, and they'll always be testing mantra, and I'm sure the learnings have just been massive for you in your entire career, but in particular, in looking at growth for Grommet and seeing that great growth that you guys are achieving right now. Can you share maybe a couple tidbits of just what you're seeing with that growth? What are some of the observations and learnings that are really jumping out at you?
Yeah, so I think the biggest upgrade that we've made on our platform has to do with our buying experience and the buying journey. And this is common sense, but the more steps you add into the buying process, the more customers drop out of the funnel. And so at Grommet, we send all of the traffic back to the maker's Shopify store to purchase. So that way the maker gets the customer, and then we have a Shopify app that kind of passes data and all that good stuff. But in that, we were having people go to the Grommet and they were seeing the page and they were like, man, this is awesome. I love all the information. And then they click buy. And then they were going back to the brand's PDP and they were having to be resold. And, right now we have 960 plus products on the Grommet. That means 960 different Shopify stores, Shopify themes, colors, buttons in different places. And so the experience wasn't great for shoppers. And so, we spent a lot of time in development making a buying experience that got rid of all that. Because if you're already sold, why do I have to go back to another page to be resold and add to cart? And so we literally 2x'd, and now we're almost 3x after refining it, our conversion rate on the Grommet just by simplifying the buying experience to where now they don't have to copy any coupon codes. They don't have to go to the brand's website. All they're doing is they're doing everything on Grommet. They click buy now and they go immediately to the checkout page of the brand with the coupon code already there, with the product already added to cart. And especially if you're already logged into Shop Pay or Apple Pay, like it's a one-click transaction. And so I think just taking a step back and looking at like, what's the buying journey look like? How are they getting to the Grommet? They were coming from email where they already trust us. In the email, there was already copy that pre-sold them. And now they're clicking. Like, why are we adding more and more steps to this process? And so, man, that was one of the biggest tests that we did. Another huge test for us was around images and around creative. And so one of the things that we did from day one is we didn't allow brands to submit products for their product pages with white backgrounds, like just the product by itself on a white backdrop. Look, that's Amazon. That works great there. That sometimes that works on your PDP. But we want shoppers to see themselves using the product. What is it going to be like? I had these guys on this week. It's a CBD for dogs for Tucker. It helps that they have the cutest dog of all time. Like that's that. But like, if I'm going to give a dog treat or a dog toy to a dog, I want to see a happy dog who's like having the time of his life using that, because I want to be able to see my dog. Like, would my dog like this toy? Like, that's the question that's going on in the shopper's head. And so we started testing this first in email of just white backdrop product shot versus lifestyle driven image. And again, from a testing standpoint, night and day, we will never use a white backdrop image in an email ever again, because shoppers want to see themselves using the product. And so and if you're a brand investing in that type of photography and that type of video, like we see it with UGC on the video side, but the same thing's true on the photo side. It's like, if you're just taking photos of your product in a box, like how can you show? And again, the data showed just almost instantly that we will never go back to using white backdrop photos. So those are two of those were massive wins. Those weren't just like percentage points. Those were like double, triple, 5xing conversions by looking at those types of instances.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really good way to think about the learnings. I mean, you guys have so much stuff that's that's working and positive trending happening with Grommet. It's I love to hear that, and the kind of counterintuitive learnings are really interesting, right? When you run that test and you kind of see, um, it's certainly we love to see that. What are some of the other maybe like wins or success stories of like products that have launched, maybe the past or maybe some recent ones that you want to share that you're able to share
Yeah.
about like, how do people put together these things? How do people see the growth? What are some of the like follow-on things that happen?
Yeah, so one of our probably our biggest success story right now is a brand called Intake Breathing. They do like these breathe strips that are like magnetic. So there's like these magnets that go on your nose, and then the breathe strip goes on, and it like sucks it in, and it opens up your noses, so you can breathe better both when you're working out or when you're sleeping. And they originally sent us just a UGC type video that you're going to see everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, all those places. And I reached back out and I was like, hey Alex, like, can you just shoot me a video with your phone and tell me about the product and tell me about you. And he shot this cool video in their warehouse. And, it was literally just with an iPhone. It's not super fancy. And it's like, hey, what's up, guys? This is Alex from Intake Breathing and blah, 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 blah. Right. And just 30-second video off the cuff, no editing, no fancy, captions, nothing like that. And now they have gone on and done multiple six figures of sales in the Grommet because people fell in love with that video versus the polished UGC video of like, hi, I'm Nikki and I used Intake Breathing and like, that whole story. And it was just like, man, I like this guy. And again, it instantly changed everything about him. So again, going back to like maker led, we talked about that earlier. But this is a six-figure win for this brand in sending traffic to the Grommet. That really helped him out on that side. We see
I
the
love
same
it.
thing, on social. There's a much smaller brand, right? These don't have to be like these big, Intake Breathing's a really big brand, seven-figure brand. But Infinity Clips is another one. Daria Walsh is the founder, and she was just scared to death of getting on video. She'd never done it before. And I wrote her like a quick, like little script, I was like, hey, just say this and say this and say this. She shot the video, she posted it on Instagram, and like within like 24 hours, she had hundreds of people going to the Grommet page, leaving comments, supporting her, goes on to, I think she got second place in the week for like product of the week, and, has gone on to sell over 1,000 units. And she was like struggling to sell like 5 units, like a week, and all of a sudden now you're doing 1,000 orders. And so that just puts a smile on my face. But getting these makers out of that comfort zone to say like, you know what, like I'm going to try something new. And I think that's the cool thing with like testing is like, we're trying new things. We have to try, like if we've always done what we've always done, we're always going to get what we've always gotten. But if we try these new things and they're not all going to work, but when we allow ourselves to get outside of our comfort zone and try these new things, try a new video, try a new strategy, try a new platform, try a new copy style, whatever it is, you enable yourself to find those wins. And, again, this, like not everything's going to work. Like, and you have to
Yeah.
be okay with that. You have to be okay with, in this case, like Daria was okay if she put her video up and she got no views, like cool. But guess what? There's no harm, right? Like she didn't lose anything by doing that. So we always encourage our makers to like try these things that get them a little outside of their comfort zone to find those big unlocks.
That's amazing. I love that. So many good things. And then, for brands that are kind of curious now or have been considering, like, how do they kind of get started with Grommet and consider kind of like a product launch with you and your team?
Yeah, it's super easy. And I don't want to make this a commercial for Grommet, but like just go to thegrommet.com. There's a giant submit your product button right at the top.
Yep.
You do have to be on Shopify. So it's a Shopify app
Yep.
connection. There are more connections coming very soon, but right now it's Shopify only. You connect the Shopify app. That takes about 30 seconds. And then you build out your page. And we have a step-by-step guide that literally walks you through like, how do you write a good headline for Grommet? How do you write a good description? Here's where you put your videos. Here's the type of images we look for. If you have the assets, like if you've got, you need 3 images and a vertical video. If you've got that, the rest of it, takes care of itself, probably like 5-10 minutes to build out your page. And then we put you on a launch calendar. And I think this is one of the other things that I love about what we do is every Thursday, we launch 15 to 20 new products. And we call it launch week. And we've done this intentionally because I love we talked about baseball and stuff. Like I'm a competitive guy. I'm a sports guy. Like I want these brands competing like every week to win product of the week. And so we made the
Yeah.
prize package like huge. You get free additional advertising in Grommet with no revenue share. You get free featured placements in a bunch of digital magazines and physical magazines. You get a bunch of stuff from our partners. It's like a $10,000 prize package. And then you get bragging rights. You're like, I beat all of you, right? And so we get the competitive spirit out with these brands. And so you get a date on the launch calendar, and then we send you a ton of education and training on like how to crush it on Grommet. We walk you through it every step of the way. And man, I will say like that week is just, it's so much fun. And the best part of it is that those first 7 days that you're on Grommet, you don't pay us anything. It's 100% free for brands. There's no application fee, no setup fee, nothing like that. There's no revenue share for the first 7 days. So, we have brands doing, 400, 500, 600 orders in a week with no acquisition costs. And so like, I mean, that's huge, right? Like who doesn't want that? Like,
Yeah.
and so especially
Yeah.
with the, all the rising costs and Meta and Amazon. And so, yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. And then the last thing that I'll kind of say, because I think this is important too, because I know you have like publishers and affiliates that listen to this, is using Grommet and using Launch Week and using kind of our trending feed like Product Hunt, seeing what products are rising to the top, because we allow affiliates and publishers to come in and promote Grommet products for a really good, rev share. And so you kind of get to see like what products are doing well, what products are selling, what products are ascending, what products just dropped off a cliff, like what happened there, what are the new categories that you need to look at. And so, using the Grommet as a tool to see what categories are doing well, what products are doing well for your affiliate mix or for your listicles or for whatever you're doing, like it's become a research tool for some of the biggest publishers out there today.
Love it. That's amazing. No, it's so cool to kind of create that competitiveness and that community. And there's certain elements that have maybe a tad bit of gamification involved. I think it's just a brilliant, exciting platform, and I'm excited for you all to continue, and so much more to go. Right. Going back to kind of you and your journey, it's been pretty amazing and interesting and varied, as we talked about from the beginning. But was there something you kind of talked a little bit about, like that mindset of like you can kind of create, you can kind of manifest, you can kind of achieve what you want if you put your mind to it? Was there anything that you think was instrumental in kind of like hammering that home, or maybe an experience that really validated that for you, or maybe something that was like the or one of the pivotal moments in your professional career?
Yeah, man, it sounds silly, but everything in life goes back to high school, right? Like, and so the high school peer group, stuff like that. So I was kind of the poor kid in a rich school. And first day of high school, I walked in and everybody's got like their nice Tommy Hilfiger polos and their nice jeans and their, $100 Jordans. And I'm here in like Target shirt, Target shorts, and that whole side. And so, I would go to my parents were divorced, and I'd say, "Hey, Dad, like I need some new clothes." And he's like, "Get a job." And I go to my mom, and I'm like, "Hey, I need some, like go." And I was like, "All right, so no one is going to give me anything, right? Like no one, there's no handout here for me." And so, got a job early because I wanted to have clothes to keep. And that part, it was like keeping up with the Joneses and your peer group and things like that. But then I mentioned it earlier. It's just like, no one was coming to Orlando, Florida to give a white kid, a white rapper, a record deal. So I was like, if no one's going to come give me the record deal, why don't I just become the record label? And then, so I was like, I could figure this out. What does a record label do? Well, they pay for the recordings. Cool. I'll get a job waiting tables, and I'll take all that money and I'll put it into, a recording studio. What else do? They press up the CDs. Cool. Can I get a couple local businesses to maybe put their logo on the back of my thing, and I can get them to pay the couple $1,000s to press up the CDs? What else do? They get shows. Well, I could just go to the local bar and just ask the guy if I can make a show. So I'm going to figure all this out. And then the same thing was true when I wanted to do TV. I was doing a bunch of YouTube stuff. I was doing a bunch of and I was like, man, I'd love to do my own TV show. I was a huge Anthony Bourdain fan. And I was like, I want to do Anthony Bourdain, but for young entrepreneurs and young businesses. And again, I actually went and did a bunch of auditions. I was in CNBC's office. I was out in LA, like doing these auditions, and I had no callbacks, nothing. And I was like, well, so I don't want to wait for them or wait for this opportunity. What if I just create my own show? And so I was like, well, what do I need? Well, I need some money, right? So let's go do a Kickstarter, and let's get some people to jump on board, and let's create a ton of value there. I need a film crew. Cool. I have some buddies, and so it's just this idea of like, what do you want in your life? And are you waiting for somebody like the golden knights to like come and like, ignite you and say like, all right, Ty, you've been in business for 25 years. You get a book deal. Like, that's not how it happens. You have to take your career, your dreams, your goals as your own responsibility. I learned that from Jack Canfield. It's like success principle number one, right? Like control what you can control. And your life is your responsibility. And so I was just like, man, like, let's just go do it. Like I want it. Like I got one
That's
life
it.
to live. I want to go do
Yep.
these things. And so, yeah, man, like going back to
Yeah.
high school and not having the cool
Love
shoes,
it.
like that's where it all stems from.
It's amazing. Dude, the hustle and the grit and the determination, it's all there. And it's, some people have it, some people don't. And I just a ton of respect for the story and a true entrepreneur, someone that's saying, hey, like I'm going to create something out of nothing. It's incumbent upon me to do it. And, not for everybody. And I tip the cap. That's an amazing story.
The other side of it, just because like the other side is like, well, did you like make millions of dollars as a record in your record deal and stuff? Like, it's not always about the outcome, right? Like for me, it was like, I want to prove to myself that I can do this and that I'm good and that I can like do these things,
Hmm.
right? And so, like with the TV show, like we created a really good TV show and I ended up selling it to Entrepreneur Magazine. And then we ended up selling the rights to like Amazon Prime. Like that's a huge win. Did it get picked up by CNBC and it's shown after the profit? No, like, but like, man, like just the journey of like doing these things makes you better. Like puts you in this position of like, I think it's Tim Ferriss that says like, what would this look like if it completely went to hell? Like, like what do I still
Hmm.
want to go and do this project? And so,
Yep.
even with like the supplement brand, I was like, I want to create this for me. No one ever buys this. I get the coolest product on the planet and I figured it out. And luckily like
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs loved it too. And it was a great business.
Yeah.
But like, even if it doesn't, like, how can I still win? How can I still come out of this a better person? And so, yeah, man, it's not always about, of course, like there's a scoreboard. We need money to pay the bills. Like I get it. But like, how is this a win, even if it's not, that commercial success,
Exactly.
that next 9-figure brand? And
Exactly.
that's how I've always tackled these
It
things.
it's a great learning for people thinking about challenge, work, life, business, entrepreneurship. There's multiple measures of success, and so you're kind of thinking about it very holistically, and I have a lot of respect for that. Um, that's amazing. Shifting gears a little bit to some kind of just fun questions coming down the home stretch, just kind of rapid firing a little. It's the fun products. You're obviously slinging consumer products all the time. Shifting over to our friends over at Product Hunt, is there anything on the software side, anything on the tech side that you're kind of like, man, that's helped me in business, or that's helped me on the consumer in the digital or the software space?
It's really funny. I'm so like a grandpa when it comes to like changing things, right? Like the number one piece of SaaS that I use every day and I preach it from the rooftops is freaking Evernote. Like I love Evernote, right? Like all these people are like use Notion, use Obsidian, use all these like cool. And I'm like, man, I'm an Evernote guy. I have like, like 35,000 notes in there on everything. And it's all and it's just, that to me is like, I think everybody needs to have like that place where you can record ideas, where you can, grab stuff off the web when hey, that's something that I just need to file away for later. So I'm like an Evernote junkie. Obviously we're a Slack team and then we use Monday. I resisted Monday forever. And now I've fallen in love with it. On the reporting dashboard side, I've become a big fan of Tableau just because on the Grommet side, we're pulling data from so many different places. We're pulling some data from Shopify, some from our platform, some from a blog, from
Yeah.
social, from Giddy Up. And so Tableau's been like huge for us to be able to decipher all of that and kind of put it all together.
Yeah.
And then the one that I've loved lately that I use almost every day now on the AI side is Perplexity. That's been one. I have it right on my phone,
Amen.
right
Big
from my
time.
home screen before I even do anything. It's hard to see here, but there's just a button for the microphone. And I mean, I'm using this for like silly things of just like, hey, I'm walking into Crunch Fitness right now. I want to do some stuff with kettlebells and free weights. Make me a workout. And boom, spits me out and I'm just like, holy moly. Like, this is like,
It's
it's literally changed my
Yeah.
life to where I don't like, we're going to St. Pete tomorrow. And I was like, all right, we're getting to St. Pete around 2:00. My wife loves plants. I love tacos, and we need to be at the venue at 7:00. So make us an itinerary of some cool places to check out. I'm like,
It's
this is
it's
crazy.
magic.
Like it is.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
one has just changed how I think about like, all that stuff.
yeah. I couldn't agree more. Like you're hitting on all these great things, and we're kind of there too. And I love some of those insights. That's super helpful. And then hey, flip it back to the consumer with Grommet. Is there a cool product there, or maybe a consumer product outside of Grommet that you kind of rave about and just share with people and you tell people about?
Man, I tell so many people about a lot of Grommet products. So the one above my shoulder here, this is Kanga coolers. I love these guys. They were on Shark Tank, didn't get a deal, but it is it fits like a 12 pack, whether beer, soda, whatever it is, and
Hmm.
it keeps your stuff cold for 12 hours with no ice. So like all those times where you got to go
Dang.
to the gas station or whatever, pick up an ice pack. Nope, done. These guys are incredible. I couldn't be a bigger fan of them. I'm a
Yeah.
gym guy, so there's this really cool brand, KNKG, that makes these incredible duffel bags and backpacks. I wear the backpack everywhere. Just love that brand. KNKG is that brand. I just started using this wallet. There's two of them here, and I'm going back and forth. So this one is called
That's great.
Memo. It's a whiteboard wallet. So I'll have to show it to you because
Oh
it's
wow.
so freaking cool. So it's just like a slim fit wallet, right? Like you put your cards in here, and then when you open it
Yeah.
up, there's a freaking whiteboard and there's a pen. And so like for like idea people, you're going to a lunch and
Dang.
you want to write
Yeah.
something out. I'm such a nerd, but like I love this wallet. It's really cool. It's front pocket or back pocket. It's a really cool one.
I
I
like
love these
that.
guys. They're out of the UK. Super super cool brand. And then this one, I don't have the actual wallet because it's my day wallet. But Swear Brands. It's because you swear that you will never use another wallet ever again, and it's this amazing leather. It'll be probably like the last wallet that I wear. It is so good, and
Damn.
just love it. So yeah, man, there's so much cool
Those are
stuff
some good ones.
that we get here, man. Like it's if you could turn my camera this way, there are hundreds of products over here that which is amazing. But yeah, those are some of the ones that just I use on a regular basis, which
Yeah.
is
I
the important
I
one.
love it, man. I'm glad I asked. Um, what I know this is maybe a funny question because you've done so many, surprising, cool, interesting things, but is there anything that maybe people don't know about your background in your life that you want to share with the audience that might be interesting to share?
I think that the number one thing that, like, again, all those things that I've done, I think the next chapter is how do I help my kids to go on those same adventures, to have that same mindset of what do I want? And then I want to go and build that or create that. And so over my shoulder on this side, you see these sunglasses here. This is actually my 11-year-old sunglass brand. So we started it last year when he
Oh
was
my
10
gosh.
at the World Series. And he wanted to get into like making TikToks and YouTube videos and stuff like that. And I was like, well, we're not just going to create mindless TikTok videos and have you jumping off the roof and doing dumb things. I was like, what if we I want to teach you like how do we I think the number one skill kids can have today is storytelling with a camera. Like it's just that is where their world is going. And so I was like, hey man, like what do you love? Like what are some of the exciting? And we went through a whole bunch of stuff. We found these really cool glasses. We created a brand, created logos, and now he's creating videos with like intention. And so every day he's creating these videos around, we just did one. It's doing really well. It was like so. Aaron Judge is at 51 home runs right now, and he was just like, "Hey guys, Aaron Judge has 51 home runs, and there's 1 month left in the season. Drop a comment below with how many home runs you think he's going to hit by the end of the season, and one of you is going to win a free pair of sunglasses." And like we haven't had like comments has been something
Love
we're
it.
struggling with. All of a sudden, this video's got like 100, 150, 200 comments. Like it's just blowing up. But now he's creating
So
these videos
cool.
with purpose, and so I think the thing that people don't know is like that. Hey, my 11-year-old son has a really cool sunglass brand for like young baseball players. But it's just that now, how do I teach that? How do I teach them to have that same kind
Yeah.
of mindset and and create a life that
And,
they're really proud of?
and that's what it's all about. You as a dad, you get to pass that on. You've already kind of been there, done some really cool things, and now you get to, instill that in the next generation with your kids, and how rewarding, how perfect.
Yeah.
Um, that's amazing, man. Greg, I feel like this has been like rapid fire, high energy, super amazing, like all as expected after your great talk in New York and our great talk in New York. Thrilled about what you guys are doing with Grommet. I think it's going to be amazing for our advertisers at Roundbarnlabs to plug in and get rolling on some of the opportunities where it makes sense. And and for other brands out there that are merging in the consumer product space, you gotta take a look. Um, and I'm just grateful to, like, for the learnings, like your legit hustle and just positive attitude of perseverance and go for it and make it happen is contagious and awesome. So I'm just grateful to have you on and hope you enjoyed it, man.
I sure did, and I'll kind of close with this: is that like if you're listening to this right now, and anything Ty or myself said that you're like, man, that was cool or that was helpful, screenshot this and tag us on social media, tag us on Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever. Like to me, that's the biggest thank you. Of like, if this was half entertaining for 20, 30 minutes,
Yeah,
and you got some value from it, the best thank you could do is just screenshot this and help more people to discover Ty's amazing show, but also just it's a great way to let me know that you're listening. So make sure you go and do that.
love it. That's something I don't do enough of, Greg, and appreciate you shouting it out, and then yeah, share it around. We love it. You're the man. Have an amazing Labor Day weekend, and thanks for joining me, man. Thank you,
Awesome,
Greg.
man. Talk soon.